Hi, everyone. My name is Trinea Reed, and I am the Workforce Development Manager here at the Amputee Coalition. And this evening, I have the pleasure of introducing the team at Foley and Lardner LLP. And today they're going to give a presentation on careers in the legal field. And thank you so much, team, from Foley and Lardner for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Trinea. My name is David Sanders, and I am the Office Managing Partner of the DC office of Foley. And in addition to that, I've been on the board of the Amputee Coalition since 2013, although there was 1 year in there where I rotated off. And I've been very involved in working with folks experiencing limb loss or limb difference since the late 90s. So I am excited to speak with this group, and I'm excited to share some great opportunities in my profession. So next slide, please. So I want to introduce a couple folks who are here with us. We've got Dara Winter, who is our talent acquisition supervisor, and Janae Mobley, who's an HR specialist. All of us at Foley are involved in different parts of the search for and development of talent. And the legal profession offers opportunities to develop in ways you wouldn't necessarily think of. We have a lot of roles where we need accounting. We have a lot of roles where we need people who are resourceful, and we can show you all the legal expertise things we do. It's really about, are you resourceful? Are you thoughtful? Do you have grit? Can you help us figure something out that is a little hard to figure out? Our firm is really centered on 4 core pillars. And the pillar that we're really talking about today is our talent, our diversity, our inclusion and our equity, as well as our search for the best and developing the best talent we can. And we're going to cover some careers for lawyers. We're going to cover some careers for non-lawyers. And we also welcome questions. There is a chat box, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may put in the chat box. So I'll turn it over to whomever is going to speak next.
Awesome. All righty. If you don't mind, next slide. All right, so who and what is Foley and Lardner? So Foley has been around for a little over 180 years, so quite some time. But we began as a small Midwest firm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but we've steadily grown over time to now having a global footprint. So with our nearly 1,200 attorneys and 1,200 business professionals across our now 26 offices, we provide an unmatched level of client service, innovation, and value that's tailored to meet our clients' specific legal and business needs. Now, unlike other firms, we don't have a headquarters or satellite offices. All of our offices bring unique value, character, and contributions to our overall platform. So like David mentioned, we want to definitely get some interaction from you guys and have a little back and forth. So we'd love to know, where are you guys joining us from today? Please feel free to drop in the comment section where you're wanting to live and work. People are kind of dropping stuff in. We'll continue forward and then circle back to highlight some of those areas. So today at Foley, oh, I'm sorry, next slide. Perfect, thank you. So today we have 3 legal departments, 4 primary sectors, and a broad range of industries that align with our clients and strengths. Our legal departments consist of our business or corporate law. For example, that could be corporate transactions like mergers and acquisitions or forming entities, real estate, securities, or healthcare work. We also have a litigation department, things like dispute resolution, bankruptcy, construction defects, labor and employment. And then we also have IP, or intellectual property, things like patent prosecution, trademarks, or IP litigation. Now, we've also made a conscious choice to invest in 4 key sectors of the economy. That includes energy, healthcare and life sciences, innovative technology, and manufacturing. Foley's differentiated sector strength really allows us to stand out in the competitive legal landscape. So we actually have 60 different practice groups that address our clients' needs with over $1 billion in annual revenue. We are now number 45 on the AmLaw 100 list, which is a ranking of the highest grossing law firms in the country. And it looks like we do have people coming from all over the US. Many of these places are large spots for us, certainly Milwaukee. I'm personally in Dallas. New York, we have a big location. Northern Virginia, that's close to DC. So we've got a lot of offices close to you. All right, next slide. So overall, our firm vision is to operate as one team, committed to being leading strategic partners to our clients. So we fulfill this vision by fostering an environment that embraces our core values: clients first, our people, professional satisfaction, stewardship and accountability, trust and respect, integrity, diversity, and citizenship. So these values have helped us create a culture of inclusion where everyone has the opportunity to excel. We uphold a commitment to recruiting, retaining, and promoting diverse attorneys and business professionals, thereby resulting in a diversity of perspectives that's going to benefit the firm, our clients, and the communities in which we practice. So I'm very curious, what are some of the core values that you seek or hope to find in a prospective employer? Same idea, feel free to drop it in the chat. Do any of these core values really jump out at you? Give everybody a minute to type some things in. Awesome. It looks like we're getting a lot of trust and respect, integrity, diversity, professional satisfaction. Absolutely. Those are all really strong. Very important to assess, especially as you're seeking new opportunities. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing. All right, next slide, please. So there are actually several career path options at a law firm, many of which we will discuss today. I would say it's mostly split between 2 groups. We have our business professional staff and then our lawyers or patent agents and engineers. So I'm going to now toss it back to David to expand upon the attorney career path and his own personal experience. David, I think you're still on mute.
Rookie move. Sorry, guys. Next slide, please. One of the things I want to impress upon everyone, and I tried to do it with this picture, is most of us are not born saying words like here and before, thereafter, and all that as normal speech. We were regular folk who were, liked reading and writing, liked the challenge of figuring tough stuff out. And eventually we grow from, as you can see on the left, being official color war vehicle drivers to partners in a large national law firm. And what makes a good lawyer is really about it's a few things. You need to be able to read and write really well, and you need to be able to read and write for a little bit longer than the rest of the world. And then you need to be able to problem solve. I like to tell people that law school is like IKEA furniture. It gives you the tools to be a lawyer, but at the end of the day, there's like one piece of paper with all the directions that doesn't nearly explain it, and you got to go out in the real world and figure it out. So one of the things that's really cool about being a lawyer is you go through law school, they teach you how to think like a lawyer, they teach you how to read and write and what to look for. And then after that, you use all of that to help solve your client's problems. And if you're someone who likes to help a client through a tough time and make their life better, or if you're someone who sees a client as someone you can really help and provide that added little bit of structure to making arguments and getting somewhere, whether you're representing someone in litigation, whether you're representing someone in filing a patent, or whether you're representing someone in negotiating a deal or a contract, those skills come to bear. And yeah, you learn about the law and you learn about lawsuits, but most of what I do every day is advising clients on the practicality of one path versus another. Today, I spoke to a woman who's looking to be an executive at a company, and we spent more time talking about what her role would look like in that role and how to really factor in what her role was worth to the company than we did on what the law might say about this or that. Now, there are some days where it's all about the law and you're reading cases and then synthesizing them and making arguments that go into briefs. But for the most part, it's reading, writing, and problem solving and having the emotional intelligence to add value for your clients. Next page. So if you're interested in becoming a lawyer, I want to take a few minutes and tell you what I think the keys are to getting me where I am. When you're in college, you need to figure out how and when you're going to take the LSAT, which is basically the SAT or the ACT to go from college to law school. The one thing you need to do before you leave college is get your recommendations from your professors in. It's a lot easier to do when you're still on campus and you can walk by their offices during office hours and talk to them and they remember who you are. Then you need to pick the right law school for you. It's okay if you don't know what you want to do in the law. Most of us go to law school not knowing what we want to do. I was a litigator for 1.5 years. I've been a corporate lawyer for the last 27.5 years. I had an epiphany in my first 1.5 years that being a litigator wasn't for me. There are a lot of people who love it. It's okay if you don't know what you want to do. And then the next thing is, where do you see yourself fitting in the law? If you're looking to be a public defender, if you're looking to be more civic minded, it may make sense to be more locally focused in where you look for law schools. If you want to deal with the weighty constitutional issues of what presidential immunity is, to take something ripped from the headlines, then maybe you really want to focus on the highest ranking law schools, which also tend to be more expensive, which means you're going to have loans. So I'm happy to talk to anyone more about that, but that's kind of what we see. Now, let's think about how law firms hire. We have generally hired out of the law schools in that we solicit resumes from each of the law schools ahead of time, after students are done their first year of law school, and then we interview folks and make them offers to join our second summer class, the class between their second and third year of law school. They come here for 10 weeks, they work side by side with us, and assuming they're doing well, they get offers to return. Generally, it's like 97-98% of the summer associates get offers to return full-time the following October as lawyers. Then you would start as an associate. As an associate, you're basically doing that for 8.5 years to 10.5 or 11.5 years. Although I should say for the first 6 years, you're an associate. At our firm, for the next 3 years, you're senior counsel. Other firms have different titles like income partner or something like that. And then somewhere between year 8.5 and year 11.5 or 12.5, you get voted on to become an equity partner if everything's going well. And then you're a partner in the business. and you get the big corner office. Like someone mentioned, they're from Northern Virginia. That's Northern Virginia right back there. I'm sitting in DC. I started my career, for those of you who know DC, with an office view of the Whitehurst Freeway. And as my career progressed, I kind of rotated around to get the view of the Potomac River. And then you're an equity partner for a long time. And then eventually you choose to retire and read books for fun. For a change mid-career, I'm going to answer that immediately. And that is, we oftentimes get folks who go to law school later in life and join us, and they may join us as a first-year associate when they're in their 30s or 40s. And that's not an uncommon occurrence. You can then go through the profession the way anyone would, and work as long as you're productive. And, we have folks who work into their 80s. So then I wanted to cover a little bit more on the right in this box, like what I think makes a good lawyer. It's a constant learning. The thing about this profession is, I think it's the ultimate Darwinian profession. If you're smart and you work hard, you will progress. It's not based on luck. It's based on brains and effort. It's based on, to quote Martin Luther King, the content of your character. It's based on nothing other than that. So you have to be a technical expert. You need to be either an expert in writing briefs or writing agreements. You need to really understand your client's goals and understand that the law is a tool to help companies achieve business objectives. Now, that's not always true. If you're a public defender or a prosecutor, you're helping put people in jail or keep people free. And then one thing that I think is a key to success in life is just treating everyone with kindness. Like, people ask me what's the one thing I wish I had learned sooner in life, and that's how far you get in life just by saying, hi, how are you, and waiting for an answer in every interaction. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but I am friendly to everyone, and I'm nice until it's time to not be nice with everyone. So obviously there are times where you have to leave your perch of niceness and deal with folks who are not reciprocating that sort of thing. But even when I'm dealing with opposing counsel, I am friendly, polite, and you can disagree without being disagreeable. My assistant is like a huge teammate of mine. She's been at this firm for 46 years. She knows a lot of it better than I do. And she's so good at keeping me on track when I start spinning out with all my busyness. I couldn't do my job without her, and she knows how I feel about her. And I feel the same way about the other attorneys and paralegals I work with here. Now, finally, I know I'm talking a lot. In the law, you have amazing opportunities to volunteer. All my work with the Amputee Coalition is pro bono and volunteer. I do it because I love it, because it's a passion. And you have those opportunities to take on things that are important to you. I'm not only on the board of the Amputee Coalition, I'm on the board of something called the Children's Charities Foundation in DC. We provide a free coat to every homeless kid in the district every year. These are the types of things you can do when you're passionate about your community and you have the pedestal of being a lawyer that helps you look around at the community and say, where can I help and where can I put my effort in? And I'm proud to say that I've done a fair amount of charity work. When my kids were little and at home, my wife and I took them to do the charity work with us. And it's just the right way for all of us to be connected in our community. And it's something that I find invaluable. I'll turn it over to the next slide and whoever's next. And I hope you appreciate the Elwoods picture in the background.
Thank you, David. And yes, that's a great picture of Elwoods there. So he talked a lot about what it means to be a lawyer and growing up in a law firm, but I think the rest of the presentation today, we're really going to talk about all the other jobs. So lawyers make up about half of our population, our business professionals or our staff make up the other half. There are many career paths and departments here. Some of them, like the assistants, they're supporting specific people in specific offices, but we have our talent department, accounting and finance, marketing. They support the team and the firm on a national scope. So we'll talk more about them, but before we get too deep in, what types of jobs do you guys think that business professionals or staff may have at law firms? So if you could just drop those in the comments, we'll take a look, and no answer is the wrong answer. We're just curious what your thoughts may be. Yeah, Paula, we'll definitely cover that in our coming slides, the areas that we hire the most, and I would say the biggest job populations of employees as well. Marketing, admin, finance, yep. Business development, yeah, exactly correct. So I will turn it over to Janae, who will start off by talking about our assistant population, and then we'll continue on through the rest of the groups. So if you could go to the next slide, please.
Awesome. So like we have mentioned, these are some of our administrative departments. So here at Foley, we actually have 265 employees, which is about 11% of our staff. So a relatively large number that are in administrative roles across the firm today, consisting of our administrative assistants, our legal assistants, assistant leadership, and then also office management roles. As Dara mentioned earlier, these positions support specific offices. So just as a kind of high-level overview of each role, our administrative assistant roles can vary. They can be supporting office operations or providing administrative support to our assistants or executives. These roles can also be both entry-level or for more experienced candidates. Kind of just depends upon the job description and the business need. Now, at Foley, our assistants are vital to our attorney's success, just like David just mentioned about his own assistant. They are tasked with providing administrative support, legal document production, and anticipating attorney needs. On average, our assistants support about 5 attorneys within their office, and most of our assistants actually continue within this role their entire career. Now, we also offer leadership opportunity for our assistants to become a team lead or a legal support manager. In addition to their assistant duties, the team lead also manages the department's workflow distribution. The team lead also gets to work very closely with our legal support manager, who manages the performance of those assistants in their respective offices. Now, each of our offices are overseen by either a supervisor, a manager, or an administrator, kind of depending upon the office size. And those office management roles focus on daily operations, problem solving, and dispute resolution within their respective locations. Essentially, they ensure everyone has what they need and that all is running smoothly. So, and since we have David with us today, David, we wanted to ask your opinion. Could you share what you think makes an assistant successful from the attorney perspective?
You know, Janae, I think you really covered most of it, and that is, my assistant, we have such an honest, direct relationship that she knows what I need to get done, and I've given her license to bug me when there's something I'm missing, when there's something I'm not getting to that she needs. And at the same time, I try and do little things to make her life easier. Like my handwriting is absolutely terrible and I log in my time. So I no longer handwrite my time, I type it. I can do it probably now as fast as I used to be able to write. And it just makes her life so much easier. And at the same time, I've got this one thing I've got to do that's a little cumbersome and tough. And she just ran with it today and took it and did it and sent it to me. And I made 15 minutes of changes and then it was ready to go. And it's that type of communication and mutual respect that is like just amazing to have a teammate like that there for you.
Absolutely. Definitely goes back to that one team mentality that we were talking about earlier, working together to work towards that same end goal. That's awesome. Next slide, please. So switching gears to our paraprofessionals, we actually have 162 paraprofessionals across the firm today, which is about 7% of our staff. So our paraprofessionals have a more defined career path than our administrative roles, as you can see there on the screen. Our paraprofessionals support their assigned legal department and practice group. So often they sit in offices where many from their practice group resides, but they also have the opportunity to provide cross-office and client-specific support. They work closely with our attorneys on case management, they have heavy client contact, and they do billable work for the firm. So starting there at the beginning, our project assistant role is entry level with lower annual billable expectations. They support both our attorneys and the paralegals. Then, based on experience, knowledge, and increased responsibilities, a project assistant can be promoted to a paralegal with advancing levels of 1, 2, and 3. We also offer leadership opportunities for those who are more senior paralegals to step into a lead or a coordinator role. So as we did on the last slide, wanted to circle it back to you, David. Any additional insights regarding our paralegals or what might make them successful in their role?
You know, I don't want to say it's an expectation, but I guess I've been struck here by how conscientious the paralegals I work with are. It's kind of crazy to me that, like, I'll email them 8 o'clock at night. I'm a lawyer. I'm supposed to be working then. And they'll get right back to me, even though I say I don't need them to. And I guess I hesitate to say that because I don't want you to think it's always like that. It's not. That's very unusual in my world. But it just, I feel like, again, they're vested in what we're trying to do and they're creative about the solutions for us. And one of the things that paralegals do a lot in my world is they file documents with secretaries of state. And over the last 10 years, the secretaries of state have gotten very, very understaffed and very slow. And one false move can cause huge delay. These folks have been doing this for a while. They've got experience. And they mentor the more junior folks who start under them. And we are able to get better results for our clients more quickly because of their expertise. Frankly, they know stuff we don't about how all this works. And for someone coming into one of these worlds, the mentorship here to help you get there is awesome.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll turn it to Dara now to talk about some of our additional departments.
So accounting and finance, this group makes up over 100 people. It's about 115 people at the firm. These 5 departments, so billing, AP, collections, and cash applications, pricing, and financial systems, just make up 5 of them. And I wanted to spend the most time today talking about the billing department. So this billing department is similarly to most of our departments scattered across the US. We have big team hubs and some of our major offices like Dallas and Houston, LA, Milwaukee, Chicago, and across the East Coast as well. And this department provides a lot of opportunity for growth and advancement within the firm. So what the billing team does in a nutshell is they create and process the bills that we then send to the clients. And then the rest of the team all plays a part in getting those bills back so we get paid. So the billing team really is crucial to making sure that we get our hard and well-earned money. And we often hire at the billing assistant level. We provide a lot of training, and the goal of a billing assistant is to move up. We have a coordinator role, we have an analyst role, we have billing leads, supervisors. So that is a really great department to get your foot in the door in at a law firm. You don't have to have a bachelor's in finance or accounting. You don't have to have any sort of billing experience. What we're really looking for, all those things are nice, but what we're really looking for is people who are highly organized, have high attention to detail, they're team oriented, and they can work in a really fast-paced environment where time management and those details are crucial to be successful. So covering a few of these other groups. So the accounts payable team, like AP Anywhere Else, is involved in processing invoices and payments. They manage vendor relationships, helping out with things like credit card reconciliations. And then once we get those invoices processed and sent out, the cash team, collections team will then bring in the money. Pricing is a unique department that I wanted to highlight just briefly today. So there's a very specific science to how much we should charge clients and what that looks like for our attorney and paralegals legal services. So there's a whole entire team dedicated to very specific financial reporting and pricing models. And then like any large organization, we have a ton of systems and technologies in place to make our lives easier and more efficient. So we have a financial systems team who helps support and make updates to our various systems, whether it's our billing systems or invoicing systems. So in the next slide, I'll talk about our business development and marketing team, which is about 70 people across the firm. We have some folks who focus on marketing communications, so everything from PR, graphic design, branding, social media, content. We have others that focus on client development, so true salespeople, doing things like RFPs, pitches, proposals. Many across the department have very specific needs where they support our 4 sector teams, our regional marketing teams, practices. So all these groups in some way or another are all interacting together to make sure that we provide everything we need from a business development and marketing standpoint for our attorneys and for ultimately our clients. We have a very busy events team who hosts internal events, external client events, and then we also have a team dedicated to our technology, so our CRM, AI, competitive intelligence. So really making sure that we're doing everything to stay ahead of the curve from a technology standpoint. Our talent department is comprised of the 5 kind of boxes here on the screen, but as we've talked about throughout this entire presentation, people really are at the center of Foley's core values, and the success of the firm really depends on our ability to attract talent, develop the talent, and then retain really high quality and hardworking attorneys and business professionals. So this talent team supports all of those efforts, whether it's recruiting them and bringing them in, to, again, developing them. We have a team dedicated on coaching. We have a DE&I team as well. And then, of course, we have our traditional human resources function. So helping out by supporting us in benefits and compensation, employee relations, et cetera. So the entire talent team, like everyone else that we've talked about, are all really important to the firm's success. On the next slide, this group is, I would say, somewhat uniquely specific to law firms, but every organization in some way or another, I think, does a lot of these things. So our professional responsibility and compliance team sits under our general counsel's office. The compliance group's main tasks are to provide both ethics and professional responsibility counseling to the attorneys and maintaining that compliance with the different regulatory requirements. So we do have several people on this team who are lawyers. They're not necessarily representing clients, they're representing the firm and the firm's best interests in all of these areas. We have a very large conflicts team. They are fairly centralized in our Milwaukee office, but this is another group that's done really great things in promoting their team members. So we'll bring people into this department, and within 3 to 4 months, sometimes they're already promoted. So what they do on this conflicts group is making sure that the firm complies with different, again, ethical responsibilities, and really ensuring that when we bring on new clients, new matters, or even new attorneys, that there's no ethical or conflict in doing so. So there's an entire process that takes place from the assistants to the conflicts team and beyond. So this, I think, also shows all of our departments work together. Our lawyers, our assistants, our billing team, everyone works together to make sure that we're providing the best that we can for the firm. And then the contracts team, they focus on procurement, making sure that we have the best contracts in place and negotiating them. And Janae will touch on that a little bit more in a future slide. So I'll pass it back over to her.
So we also have information technology, or IT, and information security departments as well. Our IT department has about 120 employees on a variety of teams, all of which report up to our Chief Information Officer. So within the IT department, we have internal client-facing roles as well as more of the back office operations teams. So the roles that are more client-facing includes technology support, things like our TAC analyst or essentially the remote help desk. We also have our systems integration and support team, which includes our on-site or desk side technology analysts who really troubleshoot and help support any issues that might pop up within our hardware or software. Another client-facing role would be our practice solutions and research team. They are a resource for our attorneys and paralegals. So they support our internal systems management and maintenance, things like our internet sites. And then they're also our legal reference librarians. Now, for the back office operations teams, that is mostly comprised of our network systems and operations group, as well as database and web systems teams. So essentially, this team monitors and manages our networking, servers, storage, and infrastructure. They're ultimately responsible for securing continuous availability of our network and server resources. Now, for the Information Security Department, it is its own entity reporting up to a Chief Information Security Officer. This small but cohesive team of about 12 security professionals helps to protect our firm from cyber threats or attacks. Now, this department is comprised of two main focus areas, that governance, risk, and compliance, which includes our specialists who really focus on security risk, and then security operations, which includes our engineers and architects who focus on firewalls and that network security operations. And then finally, on our next slide here, I'll cover our facilities and procurement department. It is comprised of our real estate, records and information governance, and procurement roles. So specifically within real estate, this focuses on our internal construction and office moves. For example, we have construction project managers who oversee the build out and move process. And then for our records and information governance group, they focus not just on physical records, but also the digital information and the data that's housed internally. So these IG roles are technology based, but they're focused specifically on data governance and protection. And then lastly, our procurement team focuses on indirect strategic sourcing from external vendors and contract management, kind of looping it back to what Dara was talking about earlier with our contracts team. So this function helps us to acquire goods and services that support the firm's operations and keep a close eye on the firm's expense management. So we have now covered all of our main areas. We'd love to know from you guys, are there any questions on any of the roles that we've discussed thus far, or any roles that you were expecting to hear but were not mentioned?
Hi, this is Paula, and I did send a message to David. Due to a medical appointment, I'm going to have to jump off early. I truly apologize for that. The presentation was excellent. It really did go in a wide scope of what a law firm does. I am a huge proponent of never believing that just because it says an entity does X, that is all that they hire for. I am one of the volunteers with the workforce program, and there are a couple of questions that I did put into the chat. One of the areas that is truly not, you're not regulated by because you're a public, private entity, not a public, but the federal government does use a hiring authority to increase the hiring for individuals with disabilities. One, do you know about it? And two, even though you're not obligated to follow it, where are your pathways and guides to increase that type of hiring? So where are you looking for recruitment? What marketing or targeted recruitment are you doing?
So since you sent the message directly to me, I'm probably not the right one to answer that because I'm just a humble practicing lawyer. And Dara and Janae would understand that more. I forwarded your message to them, and
Thank you.
I think they, unless Janae, you have thoughts. I see you're off mute, or Dara, if you have thoughts. Otherwise, you can receive the email I just sent you and reply more thoughtfully later.
And that would be most appreciated. And I don't want to take up the time for everybody else. But it is obviously a very important thing to me.
We'll take a look at that comment and absolutely get back to you.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Candace, I saw you asked a question. Do you typically utilize attorneys who are looking to transition to other areas? Do you mean an attorney who's no longer looking to practice further or switch departments? If you're open to just clarifying that a little bit, that would be great. Oh, David, switching from litigation.
Yeah, and I don't know if my speakers or my technology is working. We were actually hit by some lightning, and so I apologize if you can or cannot hear me.
We can hear you. You sound great.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I'm an attorney. I've been litigating, and I don't want to litigate any longer. I'm looking to transition, and that's primarily what I'm interested in gaining more information on.
So I think I would answer that by saying, if you've been litigating for a while and you're looking to get into a new area, it really depends. There are two ways to look at it. One is you can start in a new area and learn that, or you can leverage your litigation expertise to transition into counseling. So there are a lot of litigators who become experts in investigations or become experts in accounting issues or employee benefits issues. Those are easy things to transition into counseling where you're actually advising clients on what to do rather than getting up in court and screaming, "I object."
Great, good. That's very helpful. I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Well, and I'm, if we learn a little bit more, if you want to email me a little bit more about, what areas you've been litigating, I could probably give you some ideas.
Great. I'm happy to do that. I'm trying to transition from family law and probate fiduciary litigation. So a little less litigious, a little more friendly.
So that is a layup for estate planning. That is a layup for helping folks. And Candace, this is why, and I think this is helpful for everyone to hear. This is where it could be a real opportunity because the tax laws that were passed when Trump was president expire at the end of 2025, which means a lot of something's going to happen next year. And if you learn it then, you would be coming in very much at the same level as everyone else in the experience of how to do estate planning.
It's a great suggestion. I would like to gather more information on any ideas that you might have. That'd be very helpful. I'll email you if that's all right.
It is.
Great, thank you. Great.
Any other questions, either in the chat or if you want to unmute? My email is on the screen. I'll also put David's, if that's okay, in the chat as well, in case you guys want to email him.
This is Bill Geis. I'm sorry I was late getting in. I was at an appointment that took longer than it should have. Anyways, I'm a 40-year IT professional, and I've managed my own business for 35 of those years. And I'm looking for something to finish out my career. Due to my limb loss, I'm having difficulty managing my own business, but I'm doing a lot of remote support and things like that. And I was just looking at your sites. I'm currently in central Pennsylvania, but I'm moving to the Philly area in the year. but I don't see any offices in those. I wasn't sure if you had remote IT positions. There's not much at that link I popped up, but
Yeah, so unfortunately, most of our positions are either based fully on site or in more of a hybrid capacity. We don't have any offices in Pennsylvania, but if you want to send us over your resume, we can definitely take a look at it and just see if we have any ideas for you.
okay.
And Bill, to show my support for the community, I would have to say, even if there aren't opportunities with us, because you're going to be in Philadelphia, there are a lot of other law firms in Philadelphia, and I can
Yeah.
tell you that if you were to look at those law firms, they could probably, I mean, I don't know this, but they could probably use some tech support. Frankly, we
Well,
all need some tech support. So
yeah,
there are a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of lawyers in Philadelphia, and I would bet you can find someone there as well.
I mean, over the years, I've had probably 40 law firms as clients, but they're nowhere near the size you are. They're, 1 and 2 and 3 professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So I always dealt with smaller businesses, but
And Bill, I don't know if you can see the video, but I just looked you up, and I'm sorry you have to look at Michigan logos all over. So my mom's in Nittany, so I'm familiar with Nittany's.
yep, I'm a Nittany Lion. So,
Yep.
all righty. Well, thank you for the information. Anyway, and I will be looking at some other places when I get, that's what I wasn't sure about, whether there was much in the way of remote work.
Yeah, there are a lot more IT jobs that are out there that are offering more remote opportunities. So hopefully you will see a larger pool of opportunity that might offer that. So as you're searching, you can search by fully remote or more of that hybrid capacity, though hybrid can mean a lot of things. Certainly coming into the office at some point, but definitely you'll see that a lot more whether you're doing IT or security roles. So hopefully that is helpful to you. A lot of times if it is hybrid, those roles will need to be kind of in your general vicinity. But certainly if they're fully remote, that might open up the door to being outside of just your local area.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I just wanted to see what when I saw this, I just wanted to see what there was to offer. So
Absolutely.
thank
Yeah,
you.
and unrelated but also related, if anyone has like specific questions on updating resumes, or if you really do want to get into the legal industry, like how we can help you as you're preparing for interviews or anything like that. So at this point, you have all of our email addresses, so please feel free to reach out. We're certainly happy to be a resource for you. That was it on our end. We'll stick around a few more minutes in case anyone else has questions. But we just really thank you all for joining. This was amazing to connect with people all across the country. And I hope you took away at least one new thing that you learned today.
Well, thank you so much, Dara, Janae, and David, for your time. Very valuable information for our participants on the call this evening. And we just thank you so much for such an awesome presentation. Greatly appreciate it for sure.
Of course. Thanks,
Yes,
everyone.
thank you. Thank you very much.